On with the modules part. As we talked about in the previous video, module is 1M, basic module is 1M, which is 100 millimeters. So multi-module is multiplication of that modules, 3M, 6M, and so on. A submodule is less than 1M, can have 0.5M, or we call it subdivision, 1 over 2, 1 over 5M. And submodule increment is an increment of that fraction. You can have 1 over 5m, then 2 over 5m, and so on as increment. Infra module, a size smaller than the basic module. Modular is descriptive term that indicates use of application of basic module or a multiple thereof. So modular is just a term to define that this component is modular component, which is well accepted in the construction community. Next, we go into the building reference system. So this is important because this is where the modules integrate into a drawing. So a term on reference system is a system of points, lines, and planes to which sizes and position building components or assembly may be related. So you may have a reference system of a top floor level. So you can set that top floor level is the top floor finish level is the reference system, or you set the outer wall panel is the reference system. So this is what you set uh, just to set a reference system. So reference point is a point of a reference. Reference line is when it is lines that becomes a reference system. In the reference plane, you can have a whole plane, like a ground floor level, ground floor plane becomes a reference level. So anything in between, you can set that between the ground floor and the top ceiling, below ceiling, become a reference system. So you can set that in between that plane system. There's a modular component that you can set stacking up, like block work or windows or curtain walls that is stacking up in the modular coordination between the reference systems. So in between, outside the reference system, it can become a non-modular component. So there's a flexibility there. Grid line is a normal that we've used to know that grid line. You can say A, B, C grid line. Structural grid is a planning grid for locating structure. You can have a difference grid line, but you can have a structural grid line. A space grid, a three-dimensional network of reference lines, generally rectangular. This is usually when you want to define a three-dimensional reference lines XYZ. A zone is a space between other zones. You can set different zones. So what is important here it is that you can have a neutral zone. A neutral zone is a zone which interrupts the regular increment of a reference system. You can have a zone that is not the same with the other zone that have a regular increments of, for example, regular increments of 3m, 6m, but you can have that specific zone which is a neutral zone that is not non-modular. Modular reference system is a reference system in which the distance between the two consecutive between the consecutive parallel planes or lines is international basic module or multiple of thereof. So basically, can have a modular reference systems, modular points when the point is modular, line modular, plane modular, grid modular. Grid line, which is a modular, can have that symbol. After this, we can go through that. And then modular planning grid, where your planning grid is modular, and then modular structure grid, when the structure grid is modular. Space grid, as we talked before for space grid. So modular space grid is a space grid where three axes are uh, modular, and then you can have a modular zone. And then you can have a modular space, a space bounded by modular planes, a modular axis, when a line in a modular grid defines the position in plan of a main load-bearing element, for example, wall, row of columns. And then you can have a modular dimensions. Modular dimension is basically dimension which is a modular consists of modular dimension, modular size, size is modular, and modular floor